My man. Well, let's see if this second iteration of the Artificer stands up to people's hopes, dreams, perceptions. I'm not going to be going back and looking at I'm not going to be going back and looking at other sort of builds or anything. I just want to look at this as it exists. And we're going to explore it. We'll go through it. And, whatever. Take a 5-10 minute break. We'll stretch. And when we come back, let's build a random character using the Artificer. And we'll see if perhaps we encounter anything that's really good, really bad, something that could have been overlooked, because this is playtest material. Now, if you have any questions along the way, you can ask. And if you have any observations, please offer them. This is a conversation. All of these workshops are conversations. I may be the person on screen. I am not the person who... where I'm the only one who's allowed to speak. As ideas come up, offer them. Alright, so playtest material, that's a standard thing. Look, you need your DM's permission if you're going to run it, because this could be broken, or this could just not fit into something we want to present. Masters of unlocking magic in everyday objects, Artificers are supreme inventors. They see magic as a complex system waiting to be decoded and controlled. Artificers use tools to channel arcane power, crafting temporary and permanent magical objects. To cast a spell, an Artificer could use alchemist supplies to create a potent elixir, calligrapher supplies to inscribe a sigil of power on an ally's armor, or tinker's tools to craft a temporary charm. The magic of Artificers is tied to their tools and their talents. In the world of Eberron, arcane magic has been harnessed as a form of science and deployed throughout society. Artificers reflect this development. Their knowledge of magical devices and their ability to infuse mundane items with magical energy allows the grand magical projects of Eberron to continue running. During the last war, Artificers were marshaled on a massive scale. Many lives were saved because of the inventions of brave Artificers, but also countless lives were lost because of the mass destruction that Artificers' creations unleashed. If you don't know, I'm sorry, pardon me. Whew, doggies. I had a pretty good dinner. I ordered some pizza, and I'm comfy, right? It's warm. I'm with friends. I got some nice lore in front of me here. Some nice background music. Sorry if I make you yawn in return. It's just, sometimes it just can't be helped. I after doing this for so long, I don't feel nervous in front of the camera. If anything, I'm just, this is nice. It's nice being with you, right? To take a sidestep, I don't want to open up and delve into Eberron. You can get the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron. It'll have a ton more information, including Warforged, and other such concepts. That Eberron is a widely magical society, not necessarily deeply magical, but cantrips and spell levels like 1 through 3 are way more common in Eberron. Access to them, people who can cast them, that sort of a thing. Nothing excites an Artificer quite like uncovering a new metal or discovering a source of elemental energy. In Artificer circles, new inventions and strange discoveries create the most excitement. Artificers who wish to make a mark must find something fresh rather than uncover someone else's work. This drive for novelty pushes Artificers to become adventurers. Eberron's main travel routes and populated regions have long since been explored. Thus, Artificers take to the edge of civilization in hopes of making the next great discovery in arcane research. When creating an Artificer character, think about your character's background and drive for adventure. Does the character have a rival? What is the character's relationship with the artisan or artificer who taught the basics of the craft? Talk to your DM about the role played by artificers in the campaign and what sort of organizations and NPCs you might have ties to. I very much agree with that blurb, right? And why 5th edition is very good, in my opinion. That background is a way that mechanically links you into the story. It gives your character purpose. It makes them real and exist in a world that upon which they relied to live, and to which it he or she contributes. Hey Max, welcome. Pull up a seat, get comfy. We're going over the Artificer. You can make an Artificer quickly by following these suggestions. First, put your highest ability score in Intelligence, followed by Constitution or Dexterity. Second, choose the Guild Artisan background. Now, Artificers in other worlds. Oh, Max, you're loving it? Well, we'll see if there's anything we can uncover. We'll talk about the good stuff. If there's bad stuff, we'll talk about it. Anything in between, even experiences if anyone has played a character like this and how could this fit. All that's up for discussion, and then when we finish the examination of the document, we'll build a character. We'll go through to our random character generator, and we'll build an Artificer. Hey, GM Vault, welcome. Eberron is the world most associated with Artificers, yet the class can be found throughout the multiverse. I'm sorry, pardon me. These are just dumb little comfort yawns, too. Like, again, I'm not tired. These aren't big. It's just your body's like, yeah, you need some oxygen or, I don't know, whatever. In the Forgotten Realms, for example, the island of Lantan is home to many Artificers. And in the world of Dragonlance, Tinker Gnomes are often members of this class. The strange technologies in the barrier peaks of the world of Greyhawk have inspired some folk to walk the path of the Artificer. And in Mystara, or Mystara, depending, various nations employ Artificers to keep airships and other wondrous devices operational. In the city of Sigil, Artificers share discoveries from throughout the cosmos, and one in particular, the gnome inventor named V, runs a multiverse-spanning business from there. In the world city Ravnica, the Izzet League trains numerous Artificers, the destructiveness of whom is unparalleled in other worlds, except by the Tinker Gnomes of Krynn. That's Dragonlance. You know, just talking about the Dungeons and the Dragons? Yeah, we are. You know, we're eating pizza, we're having fun, laughing, and thereby we are literally summoning the devil. If my character in the recent stream could be this class, he would. Yeah. And you know what? Pete and Jeremy are going to be talking about this on Wednesday, and they actually invited me as a guest to pop up on the stream and offer my opinion. Oh, good for you then, says GM Vault. Now, this is a full level 1 to 20 offering. If Artificers were in the PHB, then Mordecai would have been approaching, or would have been apprenticing with one, I feel, early in his life. So, Coffee Cat, so maybe you're not mechanically an Artificer, but if you want to say that you are apprenticing with an Artificer, that's perfectly fine. Well, I'm sure that that they'll be paying attention to chat, and it can be interactive. And of course, I'll read chat on Wednesday. I'm reading chat right now, and so you can also throw out ideas here. You know, things that are inspirational, things you say, could have been better, or I was really hoping for this. You know, Maddie, with a picture that dang big, I think you could save yourself some time and just shove a garden hose down your throat to irrigate yourself. Yeah, but I don't want to irrigate myself that quickly. I want to sip on it over the course of maybe an hour, hour and a half. It's not a bad idea. It is very practical. Plus, it'd be very cold water this time of year. He was definitely a tinkerer, and Mordecai was studying to become a tinkerer himself, hence the background skill. Max says, by the way, if you have time, check Discord. I made pretty accurate Pikachu memes. Oh, yeah. So if any of you are wondering what Max here is talking about, the Bunnyfolk character I made on stream got his first adventure in D&D time, and it turned into the end result was kind of running through like an American Ninja style gauntlet. And he ended up making it through. And so he booped the button with his nose, turns around, and sees the 3 other members of his party just absolutely murdering this halfling. And the look on my poor little bunny folk paladin's face when he just sees the rest of them just incinerate this poor halfling was just like, I'm with murder hobos. Hey, Diadems, welcome. I think murder's an understatement. Yeah, I'll take a look at it here in just a little bit here, Max. Thank you for doing so. That was, I mean, just that moment of pure dread. And then, of course, Bartholomew comes on and is like, oh, well done. I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, I owe my life to this man? GM says, hey, look, everyone, DB Adams finally showed up. Oh, coffee. It's the first, like, hour and 15 minutes or whatever or so. If you just look at their VOD, it was we played Family Feud, and then we went into an obstacle course. It was a ton of fun. Which, by the way, if any of you want to play D&D, go over to D&D time and sign up. And play, and have fun, and join folks. Speaking of Pokemon, I decided to use them as a bit of inspiration in my story as well. GM Vault says, D&D's for nerds. And Volvo does pop up. No, I understand. In fact, Diadems, you were running D&D for Captain Milne. How did that game go? Please link them. I don't have one immediately available, but Max, if you could copy and paste their web address in there, I'd appreciate it. GM Vault is the biggest nerd, to be fair. It's a true story. As an Artificer, you are a D8 hit die class, so you're not a wizard or a sorcerer. You're, at least by hit dice, you are a warlock, a bard, a cleric. You get where this is going. Killed a giant ant queen and got to the first dungeon. Oh my gosh, my cat just almost did something very regrettable. I bet your heart is racing, huh? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, coffee, I know. It's just a matter of sitting down and actually doing it. It's not that it's necessarily difficult. It's having the time, the opportunity, and also remembering to do it too. Yeah, the cats be catting. You have proficiency with light and medium armor as well as shields. Simple weapons, hand crossbows, heavy crossbows. All right, so this is kind of like clerics so far. Thieves' tools, tinker's tools, one type of artisan's tools of your choice. Cool tool selection. The mechanical servant and limited casting almost makes Artificer more like a ranger than a bard or warlock. Okay, well, I haven't gotten that far, so I'll trust you on that civil. Hey, Lith, welcome. Yes, we are looking at the Unearthed Arcana Artificer. Con Intelligence for the saving throws, very interesting. And choose 2 from, so it'd be good for concentration spells. Choose 2 from Arcana History: Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Perception, and Sleight of Hand. You start with the following equipment in addition to the equipment granted by your background: any 2 simple weapons, a light crossbow and 20 bolts, studded leather armor. Interesting. I think this is the first time I remember studded leather armor being part of the package. It's usually just like leather. Or scale mail, because you can wear medium. Thieves' tools, and a Dungeoneer's pack. That seems to be a very generous starting package. If you forego the starting equipment, okay, man, that's whatever. Optional rule: Firearm Proficiency. The creation and operation of gunpowder weapons have been discovered in various corners of the D&D multiverse. If your Dungeon Master uses the rules on firearms in the DMG, page 267, and your Artificer has been exposed to the operation of such weapons, your Artificer is proficient with them. No, that was prior to broadcasting GM Vault. Why Thieves' Tools and not Tinkers? It's how it was made. That said, Max, I believe you could very easily ask your Dungeon Master to swap them out. I don't see why not. In fact, by listing one and not the other, and they don't overtly say so, but this is a good prompt for you as a player to say, well, instead of Thieves' Tools, can I get Tinker's Tools instead? And then the Dungeoneer's pack. Or to say, I will eschew the Dungeoneer's pack, and instead I'll take Thieves' Tools and Tinker's Tools. It's something to provoke conversation, I'm sure. At first level, you learn how to invest a spark of magic in objet that would otherwise be mundane. To use this ability, you must have Thieves' Tools, Tinker's Tools, or other Artisan's Tools in hand. You then touch a tiny, non-magical objet as an action and give it one of the following magical properties of your choice. Peak Furball, a very, very interesting name. Thieves' Tools seem to have extra utility which Tinker Tools lack. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I've considered and even run where Tinker's Tools might be able to be used in place of Thieves' Tools. You know, in certain special cases, Thieves' Tools might be able to do something Tinkers can't. Tinkers might do something Thieves don't. It's something to consider. And again, it's a good prompt to have a discussion as a player with your Dungeon Master about, you know, maybe swapping gear that you think is compatible. Brewer's Tools based Artificer? Sure. You get an artisan tool set of your choice. You want it to be brewers? Gardening? You can do that. The object sheds bright light in a 5-foot radius and dim light for an additional 5 feet. Whenever tapped by a creature, the object emits a recorded message that can be heard up to 10 feet away. You utter the message when you bestow this property on the object, and the recording can be no more than 6 seconds long. The object continually emits your choice of an odor or a non-verbal sound. Wind, waves, chirping, white noise, or the like, a heartbeat. The chosen phenomenon is perceivable up to 10 feet away. A static visual effect appears on one of the object's surfaces. This effect can be a picture, up to 25 words of text, lines, and shapes, or a mixture of these elements as you like. CGM Vault, it's the simple things. You rake. The chosen property lasts indefinitely. As an action, you can touch the object and end the property early. You can give the magic of this feature to multiple objects. Touching one object each time you use this feature, or you use the feature, and a single object can bear only one of the properties at a time. The maximum number of objects you can affect with the feature at one time is equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of one object. If you try to exceed your maximum, the oldest property immediately ends, and then the new property applies. Mountain Dwarf Artificer with Brewer's Tools that makes Stein and Keg Homunculi / Golem / Animated Trinkets. Hey, when we make our random character, we could end up with something like that, Lith. Okay, so this is the tinkering is taking the place of some cantrips. You know, this is kind of like a Druid craft, prestidigitation, thaumaturgy style stuff. Hello, Syart. Good morning to you. We're not painting tools. They are an Artificer after all. You can do that. The rules are open to that. I say just make Heimerdinger as a proper Artificer. Easy peasy. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with that League of Legends character, so I can only presume he's just kind of like a mad scientist character. You have studied the workings of magic, how to channel it through objects, and how to awaken it within them. As a result, you have gained a limited ability to cast spells. To observers, you don't appear to be casting spells in a conventional way. You look as if you're producing wonders through various items. He is on the... Okay. You produce your Artificer spell effects through your tools. You must have a spellcasting focus, specifically Thieves' Tools or some kind of Artisan tool, in hand when you cast any spell with this spellcasting feature. You must be proficient with the tool to use it in this way. See Chapter 5 Equipment on the Player's Handbook for descriptions of the tools. After you gain the Infuse item feature at 2nd level, you can also use any item bearing one of your infusions as a spellcasting focus. Pretty generous with that then, right? Cantrips. At 1st level, you know 2 cantrips of your choice from the Artificer spell list below. At higher levels, you learn additional Artificer cantrips of your choice, as shown in the Cantrips Known column of the Artificer table. When you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of the Artificer cantrips you know with another cantrip from the Artificer spell list. Coming back up here, Cantrips Known. Right, 2, we get to 3, and then finally at level 14 we hit 4 cantrips. The Artificer table shows how many spell slots you have to cast your Artificer spells. To cast one of your Artificer spells of 1st level or higher, you must expend a slot of the spell's level or higher. You regain all expended spell slots when you finish a long rest. You prepare the list of Artificer spells that are available for you to cast, choosing from the Artificer spell list. Pardon me. When you do so, choose a number of Artificer spells equal to your intelligence modifier, plus half your Artificer level, rounded down. The spells must be of a level for which you have spell slots. For example, if you're a 5th level Artificer, you have 4 1st level and 2 2nd level spell slots. With an intelligence of 14, your list of prepared spells can include 4 spells of 1st or 2nd level in any combination. If you prepare the 1st level Cure Wounds, 1st level spell Cure Wounds, you can cast it using a 1st level or 2nd level spell slot. Casting the spell doesn't remove it from your list of prepared spells. You can change your list of prepared spells when you finish a long rest, so we're going more towards Druid. Well, I guess Druid, but also, I'm sorry. If not Druid, then, Cleric. But an arcane one. Let's see. Oh, you do get ritual casting. That's nice. And here's the list of spells you consult when you learn an Artificer spell. All right, so we are a half caster. Yeah, we only get up to 5th level spells. Diadem's asking, are you ready for tomorrow, Jedi? And apparently Jedi is. And yes, it did say that it specifically said you could change your cantrips. Coffee. Looking through here. Alarm, cure wounds. A lot of this seems to me, I guess, appropriate for what is trying to be conveyed. I need to thank everyone who helped with my art piece. Sarah, well, I was happy to be able to give you some input on it. Thank you for sharing it with us. Alright, so the magic of Artifice. As an Artificer, you use tools when you cast your spells. When describing your spell casting, think about how you're using a tool to perform the spell effect. If you cast Cure Wounds using alchemist supplies, you could be quickly producing a salve. If you cast it using Tinker's tools, you might have a miniature mechanical spider that binds wounds. When you cast Poison Spray, you could fling foul chemicals, or use a wand that spits venom. The effect of the spell is the same. The effect of the spell is the same as for a spellcaster of any other class, but your method of spellcasting is special. The same principle applies when you prepare your spells. As an Artificer, you don't study a spellbook or pray to prepare your spells. Instead, you work with your tools and create the specialized items you'll use to produce your effects. If you replace Cure Wounds with Shocking Grasp, you might be breaking down the device you use to heal and creating an offensive item in its place. Perhaps a gauntlet that lets you channel a surge of energy. Such details don't limit you in any way or provide you with any benefit. You don't have to justify how you're using tools to cast a spell, but describing your spellcasting creatively is a fun way to distinguish yourself from other spellcasters. Yes. Jade's Eldritch Blast on Tuesday makes her a very unique warlock. At second level, you gain the ability to imbue mundane items with certain magical infusions. The magic items you create with this feature are effectively prototypes of permanent items. When you gain this feature, pick 3 Artificer infusions to learn, choosing from the Infusion section at the end of the class's description. You learn additional infusions of your choice when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown in the Infusions Known column of the Artificer table. Whenever you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of the Artificer infusions you learned with a new one. Reading ahead. Infusing an item. When you finish a long rest, you can touch a non-magical object and imbue it with one of your Artificer infusions, turning it into a magic item. An infusion works on only certain kinds of objects, as specified in the infusion's description. If the item requires attunement, you can reattune. Hang on one second here. You can attune yourself to the, or you can forego the attunement so that someone else can attune to the item. If you decide to attune to the item later, you must do so using the normal process for attunement. Oh, okay, never mind. I get it. I get it. Your infusion remains an item indefinitely, but when you die, the infusion vanishes after a number of days have passed equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum 1. The infusion also vanishes if you give up your knowledge of the infusion for another one. You can infuse more than one non-magical object at the end of a long rest. The maximum number of objects appears in the infused items column of the Artificer table. I think we've definitely gone by that. You must touch each of the objects, and each of your infusions can only be one object at a time. If you try to exceed your maximum number of infusions, the oldest infusion immediately ends, and the new infusion applies. You gotta go, Max. All right, hey, thank you for popping by. It was a lot of fun, and thank you for putting that link up to D&D time. Those guys are great. Yeah, Max, I will definitely do so. Thank you. At 3rd level, you choose the type of specialist you are, Alchemist or Artillerist, each of which is detailed at the end of the class's description. Your choice grants you features at 3rd level and again at 6th and 14th. And there's a variant for crafting. An Artificer subclass makes you more efficient at crafting certain items. The feature you get from your subclass works whether you're using the crafting rules in the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, or Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Tool Expertise. Starting at 3rd level, your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses your proficiency with a tool. Okay. Alright, so So how could something like brewer supplies apply? ASIs, normal spread of them, Arcane Armament. Starting at 5th level, you can attack twice rather than once. Whenever you take the attack action on your turn, but one of the attacks must be made with a magic weapon, the magic of which you use to propel the attack. The right cantrip for the job. At 10th level, you gain the ability to make sure you have the right magical tool for a job. Whenever you finish a long rest, a short or a long rest, or whenever you finish a short or long, you can replace one of the cantrips you know with another cantrip. Okay. A spell storing item at 18th level. Alright, so at 18, you learn how to store a spell in an object for repeated use. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon or an item that you can use as a spellcasting focus and store a simple and store a spell in it. Choosing one 1st or 2nd level spell. From the Artificer spell list that requires one action to cast. With the object with the object in hand, a creature can take an action to produce the spell's effect from it using your spellcasting ability modifier. The spell stays in the object until it has been used a number of times equal to twice your int, or until you use this feature again. Hey, Dark Wolf, welcome. Tired of Woo is tired. Did you? Busy day in the quarter mines. 20th level, your understanding of magic items is unmatched. This is the capstone, allowing you to mingle your soul with items linked to you. You can attune up to 6. I mean, at that level, is it really worth it? But you can attune up to 6 additional ones. And in addition, you gain a +1 bonus to all saving throws per magic item you are currently attuned to. Ooh. Just, yes, attune to me. Protect me with your power. You don't like the Arcane Armament? So going back to that real quick here. That you can attack twice. Well, it'll definitely be good to show that, you know, you're investing in magic items and you're invested in the creation of them. And what that also means is it's, you know, how monks get magic natural weapons with their fist or with their martial arts. This is sort of not forcing, but it is a guaranteed allowance that this class will be able to still deal full damage to those who have the normal damage. I don't know what to put it. Hey, Paisley, Arcane Armament does seem a little too direct DPS for what seems cool about this class. Despite the mention of magic, it seems kind of dull or flavor-wise. It's an extra attack with an extra step. And you see this you can see this on clerics. You can see this on on blade locks, fighters, paladins, and such. It has been. I mean, I'm not terribly exhausted. I mean, if for some reason it overtakes me, Psyart, you know what? We can always come back later and make a character. But I definitely want to go through this. But it's been a good Friday. I've gotten a lot of things done. I had an excellent day. This is a good Friday. Yeah, well, I hope it's not distracting. Am I coming across as like really low energy, or am I coming across as just as like kind of, is it hard to listen to? I'm really trying to make sure I'm understanding the material, I'm focused, and that we can discuss it. But if I'm dragging, then I don't want to misrepresent this information by my presentation, and so we're not judging the information as it exists itself. Paisley, I'm fairly sure it's not, but it feels like every class gets extra attack. It's probably mechanically useful, but it feels like this slot could have been used for more Artificer specific spells. Peak says you see it as a subclass feature, though not a main one unless it's a fightery class. The right cantrip for the job. At 10th level, you gain the ability to make sure you have the right magical tool for the job. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can replace one of the Artificer cantrips you know with another cantrip from the Artificer spell list. So, yes, cantrip juggling here. Sire, you just woke up? Gotcha. Spell storing item at 18th level. When you reach 18th level, you learn how to store a spell in an objet for repeated use. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon or an item that you can use as a spellcasting focus and store a spell in it, choosing one first or second level spell. From the Artificer spell list that requires one action to cast. With the object in hand, a creature can take an action to produce the spell's effect from it using your spellcasting ability modifier. This spell stays in the object until it has been used a number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier, minimum 2, or until you use this feature again. I'm already sounding more perky. Well, good then, Paisy. Unless that's very, very sarcastic, and you're like, nah, he's. Paisley's being honest for once. Paisley, don't put that qualifying, that a second qualifying sentence on there. Now you're throwing everything into jeopardy. At 20th level, your understanding of magic items is unmatched, allowing you to mingle your soul with items linked to you. Oh yeah, so we're there. We got this. All right. Artificers pursue a variety of disciplines. Here are 2 specialist options you can choose from at 3rd level: the Alchemist and the Artillerist. An alchemist is an expert at combining exotic reagents to produce mystical effects. Among artificers, members of this subclass are the greatest healers, as well as the ones most adept at wielding dangerous chemicals. Cage Darkwolf is saying any creature, multi-class ranger, and artificer, and have your pet class. Oh, and have your pet cast spells after a game of fetch. Well, I suppose in that case, Darkwolf, yeah, I mean, you would put Magic Missile into like a squeaky ball and you throw it, and your animal companion could squeak the ball and shoot out magic missiles. Hey, Art Commander, welcome. Just want to say you're all amazing, wonderful, awesome people, and every time I come to this stream, it's always so great. Everyone's so nice and friendly. Thank you for being yourself. Art Commander, thank you for being here and handing out a compliment. Paisy, I love the idea of putting a spell onto a wolf's collar and sending them charging in. And Elbrun's here too. Contingency used to be the perfect spell for things like that. Okay, so Alchemists produce mystical effects, tools for the trade. By the time you adopt this specialty at 3rd level, you're deeply familiar with employing its tools. Proficiencies, you gain proficiency with alchemist supplies and the Hoibelism kit, assuming you don't already have them. Pardon. You also gain alchemist supplies and an herbalism kit for free, the result of tinkering you've done as you've prepared for this specialization. And crafting, if you craft a magic item in the potion category, it takes you a quarter of the normal time, and it costs you half as much of the usual gold. Starting 3rd level, you always have certain spells prepared after you reach particular levels in this class, as shown in the Alchemist Spells table. These spells count as Artificer spells for you, but they don't count against the number of Artificer spells you prepare. So it's like getting a mini domain, right? Purify Food and Drink, Rave Sickness, Melf's Acid Arrow, Web, Create Food and Water, Stinking Cloud, Blight, Death Ward, Cloud Kill, and Raise Dead. At 3rd level, you learn ancient methods for magically creating a special homunculus that is formed by alchemical substances. Whenever you finish a long rest and your alchemist supplies are with you, you can form this homunculus in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you. If you already have a homunculus from this feature, the first one immediately dies. Blech. The homunculus is friendly to you and your companions, and it obeys your commands. See this creature's game statistics in the Alchemical Homunculus stat block. You determine the homunculus's appearance, which includes wings and bits of alchemical equipment. Some alchemists prefer mechanical-looking birds, whereas others liked winged vials or miniature cauldrons. In combat, the homunculus shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. The only action it takes on its turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take one of the actions in its stat block, or to take the dash, disengage, or help action. If the mending spell is cast on it, it regains 2d6 hit points. If it has died within the last hour, you can use your alchemist supplies as an action to revive it. That's provided you are within 5 feet of it. And you expend a spell slot of 1st level or higher. The homunculus returns to life with all its hit points restored. Yeah, Bolt, speak, barks out Thunderwave. Yeah, it's just, it's easy to run in there, and the enemies are like, yeah, whatever, it's a dog, and it just looks up at you and goes, bork, and... Alright, so an Alchemical Homunculus is a tiny construct. It is neutral. Variable HP. Acidic Spittle, Alchemical Salve. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Alright, so there's the Salve, Buoyancy, Inspiration, Resilience. Target gains a flying speed of 10 feet for 10 minutes. Feels giddy and effective, gaining advantage on certain ability checks in the next hour. The target chooses the checks before or after rolling. The magic runs out after the target has used it on a number of checks equal to your intelligence modifier. Okay, alright. I see where they're linking that in. Target gains a number of temporary hit points equal to 2d6 plus your hit mod. At 6th level, your command of magical chemicals has become masterful, enhancing the healing and damage you create through them. When you cast a spell using your alchemical supplies as the focus, you gain a bonus to one roll of the spell. That roll must restore hit points or be a damage roll that's dealing... or a damage roll that deals acid or poison. And the bonus equals your intelligence modifier, minimum 1. Pet class sold. Let's find a game that lets me play UA content. Paisley goes from cautious, let's practice some cautious optimism to pets? I'm all aboard. This listing out specific spells for the Alchemical Salve action, but I could see that being a lot of fun to customize with your DM. Working in-game to explain how you can understand this is a specific quote-unquote spell and turn it into a salve or a gas, etc. Seems like great roleplay fodder. Yes, I agree, Paisley. Roger Twight, Axe Body Spray. It's Charm Person in a Bottle. Welcome, Roger. It's good to see you. At 6th level, your command of magical chemicals has become masterful. Oh, did we already go over that? I'm sorry if we did. Yeah, acid or poison damage. Got it. All right. Chemical Savant. By 14th level, you have been exposed to so many chemicals and unlock their secrets that they pose little risk to you, and you can use them to quickly end certain ailments. You gain resistance to acid damage and poison damage, and you are now immune to the poisoned condition. In addition, you can cast Greater Restoration once without expending a spell slot, and without expending a spell slot, and without providing the material component, provided you use alchemist supplies as the spellcasting focus. You regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. And if you don't want to go that route, instead you can be an artillerist. An artillerist artificer. There we go. Artillerist artificer. Artillerist artificer. Artillerist artificer. You think it's a little bit underwhelming for 14th level? Well, I mean, the top portion, the resistance and whatnot is good. I think the Greater Restoration kind of on demand. I mean, it's not on demand, like it's not on tap all day every day. But I think having a nearly free Greater Restoration is really powerful. Peak says, this is my least favorite part of the Unearthed Arcana. You don't like the Artillerist? A single free spell does seem a little underwhelming next to a wholly new ability. Again, mechanically useful versus flavor or cool. I got you, Paisley. An Artillerist specializes in using magic to create explosions. Explosions? And defensive positions, as well as magic-infused sidearms, especially wands, that can be used on the battlefield. Artillerists were valued by all the armies of the last war. That's an Eberron reference. Also, Greater Restoration is a 5th level spell, the highest level available to the class. Yes. Coffee cat, right? By the time you adopt this specialty at 3rd level, you're deeply familiar with employing its tools. You get some proficiencies. Gain proficiency with smith's tools and woodcarver's tools. Also gain those tools for free. In addition, you gain the ability to use rods, staves, staffs. Staves is fine. And wands as spellcasting focuses for your Artificer spells. Crafting. You craft a magic item in the wand category. It takes you a quarter of the normal time, and it costs you half as much as the usual gold. I do like that there's downtime consideration built into this too. Artillerist Spells. Starting at 3rd level, you always have certain spells prepared, after which you reach particular spells in the class, as shown in the Alchemist Spells table. Shield, Thunderwave, Scorching Ray, Shatter, Fireball, Wind Wall, Ice Storm, Wall of Fire, Cone of Cold, Wall of Force. That does seem fairly straightforward. Arcane Turret. At 3rd level, you learn how to create a magical turret. With your smith's tools in hand, you can take a reaction to magically summon a... You can... Alright, to magically summon a medium turret in an occupied space. Okay, got it. But, what does... Okay, the turrets are going to be... hey, Misfit, welcome. So turrets are going to be placed on the battlefield, and they could do different things. Artillerist just seems like an extremely specialized evocation specialization, says Elbrin. The turret is a magical objet that occupies its space and has crab-like legs. It has an AC of 18 and a number of hit points equal to 5 times caster level. It is immune to poison damage, psychic damage in all conditions. If it is forced to make an ability check or saving throw, treat all its ability scores. Okay. When you summon the turret, you decide which type it is, choosing from the options on the Arcane Turrets table. On each of your turns, you can take a bonus action to cause a turret to activate if you are within 60 feet of it. As part of the same action, you can each of your turns, you can take a bonus action to cause the turret to activate if you're within 60 feet of it. As part of the same action, you can direct the turret to walk or climb even up to 15 feet to an unoccupied space. So you could put a turret on a wall or a ceiling, presumably anyway. I don't know if it can climb, it could stick, but you can summon a turret once for free and must finish a long rest before doing so again. You can also summon the turret by expending a spell slot of first level or higher. If you summon a second turret, the first turret disappears. As an action, you can command your turret to detonate if you're within 60 feet of it. Hey, Daniel, welcome. So you can have a Flamethrower Turret or a Force Ballista. The turret exhales fire in an adjacent 15-foot cone that you designate. Each creature in that area must make a Dex saving throw against your spell save. Or make a ranged spell attack. Originating from the turret. One creature within 120 feet. On hit, it takes 2d8 force damage. Cats. And if the target is a creature, it's pushed up to 5 feet away from the turret. Or you can have a Defender-style turret. The turret emits a burst of positive energy that grants itself and each creature of your choice within 10 feet of it a number of temp hit points equal to 1d8 plus your int modifier. Well, so that would force everyone, I guess, to group up, which could be dangerous, right? Because you could just drop a fireball more easily on everyone. Could it be possible to somehow cheese the turret, though? By 6th level, you now regularly experiment with channeling different types of magic through wands. Whenever you finish a long rest and your woodcarver's tools are with you, you can touch a non-magical wooden wand and turn it into a magic item. When you do so, you invest it with one Artificer cantrip of your choice, even when you don't know that has a casting time of 1 action. And as an action, you can cause the magic wand to produce the cantrip. using your spell casting. Let me make sure I didn't lose my place. Even when you don't know, yeah. Use spell casting. The one loses its magic if you finish the next long rest. Any damage roll you make for a cantrip in the wand gains a bonus equal to your intelligence modifier minimum 1. When you reach 14th level in this class, you can invest the wand with 2 cantrips at the end. Ooh, 2 cantrips on a long rest. We're getting some good multi-purpose stuff going on here. Fortified position. Starting at 14th level, you are a master at conjuring a well-defended emplacement. You and your allies have half cover while within 10 feet of a turret you create with Arcane Turret. Uh, 14th level.
Stealth buys the box is ha.
Stealth buys. Yes, so you'll get first dibs, Sneaky Flumph, if that is your real name, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's not. First dibs on a TOA, and these 2 boxes are the first 2 out of a freshly cracked brick of Tomb of Annihilation. Starting at 14th level, you're a oh, by the way, do you want left or do you want right? Which one do you want, Flumph? Do you want left box or do you want right box? Master Conjuring well defended emplacement. You and your allies have half cover while within 10 feet of a turret. Stacking that. 2? Alright, so 2 is right, I guess. You and your allies have half cover while within 10 feet of a turret you create with Arcane Turret as a result of a shimmering field of magical protection that turret emits. You can also now summon a second turret for free and must finish a long rest before doing so again. If you summon the second turret while the first is still present, the first one doesn't disappear, and each turret can be of a different type. Moreover, you can use 1 bonus action to activate them both. Well, I don't think it's terribly complex. We're getting into, I guess, a little bit of juggling here. Misfit. Oh, how do you activate? Bonus action to cause a turret to activate if you're within 60 feet of it. Cinetic, welcome to you. And we'll get to infusions here real quick. Let me show Trustaflump the 4 figures that were in his box, and he's going to choose to keep one of them for that sponsorship. So 2d8 is a bonus every turn. Pretty good then. Uh-oh. Peak Furball's now to air my distaste. Hang on to that distaste for just one moment, Peak. Let's go over to... Tomb of Annihilation. And Trustaflump is getting first dibs on these figures. We start with either a red cap, a Sioux monster, so it's sort of like a skinned monkey. A Sioux monster. That's what it looks like anyway. a Gorallon, so a large four-armed monkey beast, or Trust the Flumph, you can instead choose to keep the Tabaxi Hunter. Tabaxi Hunter. More kittens? All right, well, I know what's going in your pile, huh? And with that, another option comes out. And there we go. And these ones are going to go to the orphanage. Yeah, hey, awesome pull. Another Tabaxi figure is really good. No, you're fine, Trust the Flumph. It's good energy. I've been told I look and sound a little tired. I may be a little tired, but I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate the discussion. Peak Furball, I'm looking forward to hearing your peak, or your distaste, Peak Furball. Yeah, and by the way, I hope that your session went well on D&D time. Oh, I got you, Trust the Flumph. Thank you very much. And if you pop back later, wave some tendrils our way. All right. So this was, you know what sorry, I'm just making noises here. I'm reminded of the in 14. Why am I derping in the name? Shame on me. I've played 14 forever. The Mechanist. Whatever. MCH. Yeah, Mechanist. Yeah. It's kind of reminded me of that, where you're having strategic turret placement that can do different things, and so it's kind of summoningery. Machinist. Yeah, that's right. I must be a little tired. Jeez. How can I forget Machinist? Artificers have invented numerous magical infusions that rapidly create magic items. To the untrained, artificers seemed like wonder workers, accomplishing in hours what others need weeks to complete. The description of each infusion tells you the type of item that can receive it. The description also tells you if the resulting magic item requires attunement. Some infusions specify a minimum artificer level. You can't learn such an infusion until you are at least that level. Unless an infusion's description says otherwise, you can't learn the infusion more than once. Says a couple here. This is kind of like invocations for warlocks. At least on first blush, that's what it's looking like. Boots of the Winding Path. While wearing these boots, a creature can teleport up to 15 feet as a bonus action to an unoccupied space.
Let's celebrate the promotion.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Christopher, for the 18. So you want to go full house now? Which box that could get all four figures out of Dragon Heist, out of Ravnica, or out of Tomb of Annihilation? Let me know which one you'd like. Enhanced Defense. Creature gets a +1 bonus to AC while wearing armor or wielding a shield. Of the infused item. Got it. Dragon Heist at your leisure. Continue reading to then. Oh, okay, Misfit. I will... Here. Let's take this away. I'll pull this off to the side. Because then this will be... This one's your box. And then we'll replace it with this box here. And... So this one's going to be yours. And we'll get to that shortly here. Enhanced weapon, many-handed pouch, infused pouch. All share one interdimensional space. Ew, I don't like those. Man. I have a personal bias against things like bags of holding and the like. All share one interdimensional space of the same capacity as a single pouch. Thus, reaching into any of the pouches allows access to the same storage space. A pouch operates as long as it's within 100 miles of other pouches. The pouch is otherwise empty and won't accept any contents. If this infusion ends, the items stored in the shared space move into one of the pouches determined at random. The rest of the pouches become empty. Peak Furball says, okay, Artificer Artillerist is competing for design space filled by Conjuration / Necromancy Wizard, Circle of Shepherd Druid, and Beastmaster without fully investing into it because it's also trying to fill in the more Blasterficer role Gunsmith did. Fails at doing both in an interesting way. I am not certain. I'm not too familiar with this Circle of Shepherd Druid. But I do get where the summoning of other things, it's seen as competition here. Sorry, nerds, gotta hit the hey, have fun with your dungeons and your dragons. Thank you, GM Vault. Misfit, been a great day. Finally feel healthy. Got good news, so I'm straight hanging here with you guys listening to nerdy stuff. Well, Misfit, thank you very much for doing so, and I'm glad that you feel good. You're healthy, because you were saying the other day that you're having maybe some digestive issues, or it could have been like food poisoning or something. So thank you for coming in and choosing to spend your time with us here. Peak Furball says, this is compounded by right cantrip for the job at 10 basically being suppliferous. Because swapping a single cantrip would technically be done by the ability to use any cantrip on your list demand via the wands. Okay, so these are, are any of you out there going, oh, yes. Are you seeing that, or does this make... Well, if you only have one action, that's kind of the bottleneck. So, would having an even wider demand for cantrips somehow be more empowering? Is that something that maybe not in combat, but could it be like downtime, right? Because crafting is a part of this. Could it be in better access to something in downtime? Could it be roleplay, maybe? I don't know. Or you just have more tools for the job, I guess? Because you can put cantrips on a stick, or you could just swap them out as you need to. But you know what? Peak Furball did bring up a very interesting point. Questions, comments, concerns? Other thoughts out there? Misfit, you have a Mirt. M-I-R-T. Very wonderfully dressed gentleman. Love it. There's Mirt. It's not quite like chicken on a stick, Black Wolf. Next up, you have a were-rat. A were-rat. I'm sorry, I should have had this up. So you had Mert. Oh, the were-rat is your uncommon here. You do have a Dragonborn Draconic Blood Sorcerer. The blue variety here. And lastly, out of this set, you have a lion. Wow. Civil Hermit says, my conclusion has traditionally been the Artificer is at its best as an NPC slash ally, or an NPC ally slash hireling. This version seems to continue that presumption. Dragon, rats, and lions, oh my, says Misfit. A lion, which itself can be an interesting encounter, or this can be a very good druid. If you are running a druid and you turn into a large, well, if you turn into a lion or something else, this is a good placeholder for it on your map. Misfit, thank you for giving these. Thank you for giving these poor minis a good home, and adopting some minis tonight. I very much appreciate that, and I'm super happy that you are feeling better. So this is strong support class, says Civil, and what we're seeing here pretty well continues that that presumption. Who would turn into a lion when they can be a wolf? I imagine a lion is stronger than a wolf, if we're looking at mechanics. But it could come down to a number of other things. Considering all your cantrips are primarily utility, you don't even need to swap in any of the attack ones either. Let's go back up real quick. Doopa doopa doopa. Acid Splash, Dancing Lights, Firebolt, Guidance, Light, Mage Hand, Mending, Message, Poisson Spray. Of course, that's a lot different because then you're just like spraying anchovies on people. Prestidigitation, Ray of Frost, Resistance, Shocking Grasp, Spare the Dying. Ooh, and Thorn Whip. I missed that when we were going through cantrips initially. Thorn Whip is an interesting one. I've also been exploring the usefulness of Artificers as a secondary multi-class, but I don't have a strong opinion for that yet. Well, maybe we can end up exploring that when we build a character using this. Let's see. Many-handed pouch, Radiant Weapon. This magic weapon grants a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it. While holding it, the wielder can take a bonus action to cause it to shed bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30. The wielder can extinguish the light as a bonus action. As a reaction, immediately after being hit by a melee attack, the wielder can cause the attacker to be blinded until the end of the attacker's next turn, unless the attacker succeeds on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. Replicate magic item. Using this infusion, you replicate a particular magic item. You can learn this infusion multiple times. Each time you do so, choose a different magic item that you can make with it, picking from the replicable magic items table below. If a table has a level in its title, you must be of at least that level in this class to choose an item from the table. In the tables, an item's entry tells you whether the item requires attunement. See the item's description in the DMG for more information about it, including the type of objet required for its making. Yeah, it's a lot of good utility. Bag of holding. Bigby's hand. Well, clearly this class is OP now because it has Bigby. Since I typically play non-D&D or low-level games, I had no idea Bigby's hand was an official D&D thing. I thought it was a dumb name Sam Riegel had come up with. Bigby, there are several Bigbies. Yes. Oh, from Critical Role, playing a character named Scanlan. I will take your word for it, Paisy. I've heard of that character before, but I have not watched Critical Role, so unfortunately, woo, that one went over my head. Well, there's a solid selection of very, yeah, I mean, not like this is broken, like very good, wondrous items. Things that can see a lot of. Things that can see a lot of play over the course of a campaign. He makes up dumb things like Burt Reynolds as a fake alias. I thought Bigby's hand was his thing. Yeah, Bigby is was a wizard who assisted. Bigby was the assistant wizard to Mordenkainen and often took notes. And so I think that's why the hand is something that conjures, because he's so used to writing. Peak Furball, I have a problem with the base features of this class. I have a problem with the turret subclass. I feel Alchemist would be better if it got a different skill over the homunculi, or the homunculi was more involved. Now, Peak, when you say more involved, do you... more involved in what, like a familiar, or that it could do something extra? The one thing I find perfect is this. The infusions are perfect. It's a ton of flexibility. It really is. Resistant armor. But this is very much a support class. I can see that as what Paisy was saying. Or civil. I'm sorry. Well, I mean, Paisy's been making points with Civil Hermit, was saying that this is, for like an NPC, like a support or an ally or something like that. You mean in the class features? Zelda Master, welcome. If a spell features a name, Mordenkainen Bigby, it's in reference to a wizard character made in the 70s. Mordenkainen was, yeah, Gary Gygax's, yeah. That is excellent lore, Zelda Master. Thank you. Tasha, I hear that she has a couple jokes to say. Tensors, floating disc, stuff like that. I love the amount of support. I really like the idea of modifying people's gear through a campaign, not being a blacksmith, but tinkering with a suit of armor at a base camp, tweaking it for the user. Peak Furball says you either need to make pets more prevalent or drop them entirely. Returning weapon. That's very useful. There's a new spell, Arcane Weapon. You channel arcane energy into one simple or martial weapon you're holding and choose one damage type. Until the spell ends, you deal an extra 1d6 damage of the chosen type to any target you hit with the weapon. If the weapon isn't magical, it becomes a magic weapon for the spell's duration. So it's only a bonus action on yourself that you can concentrate on. So I mean, you're in combat. That's why they probably want you to have a high con. So as you're getting whooped on in combat, you might lose it. It's only verbal and somatic too. No material components. That's a very solid That's a very solid spell. As a bonus action, you can change the damage type choosing from the options above. Oh, wow. That's really cool, too. When you cast a spell using a spell slot of 3rd or higher, you can maintain your concentration for up to 8 hours. Ooh. If you multi-class, you have to have at least an int of 13. If Artificer isn't your initial class, here are the proficiencies you gain when you take your first level as an Artificer: light armor, medium armor, shields, thieves' tools, and tinker's tools. The Arcane Armament feature doesn't give you an additional attack if you also have the extra attack feature. That's a good clarification. And add half your levels rounded down in the Artificer class to the appropriate levels from other classes to determine your available spells. Yeah, because you're a half spellcaster. Yeah, it is concentration. I would love if one of the subclasses was a full-on pet class. Me and my robot/homunculi buddy. And so Peak seems to be agreeing. So let's go up and touch on that real quick here. Long rest and your supplies are with you. You can form this homunculus. Friendly to you and your companions, obeys commands. It shares your initiative, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. The only action it takes on its turn is a dodge, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take dash, disengage, or help. If the mending spell's cast on it, regains hit points. The following numbers increase by 1 when your proficiency bonus increases by 1. The homunculus is skill. Okay. Well, so as a pet, I mean, it comes in. It, you know, it's not a terrible AC, question mark. Equal to 5 times your level in this class plus int mod. So it could take a hit or 2, maybe. But if nothing else, it's also taking a swing that you could have taken. And you get some options. Ranged attack. D6 plus 2 acid. Homunculus produces a salve and touches one of the creatures. The target receives one of the following magical benefits. Flying speed. Feels giddy and effective, gaining advantage on certain ability checks in the next hour. The target chooses the checks before or after rolling. Magic runs out after the target has used it on a number of checks equal to your int modifier. Interesting, yeah. So in the middle of combat, hey, I gotta slip out of these ropes. Come here and put a little grease on me. The target gains a number of temporary hit points equal to 2d6 plus your int mod. You do those 3 times a day. That's not terrible, I don't think. Kind of Dark Wolf. If you go for the Alchemist, you make an alchemical homunculus out of some supplies, and it can act in combat with some damage or offer some supportive stuff. And if you want to call it a pet, question mark, under the Artillerist, you can summon some turrets that do something. Although the turrets aren't necessarily sentient, neither is the homunculus, because it's like a little cauldron with wings. But there's a better 1 to 5 features and other methods of getting an extra attack. Arcane Weapon would be very nice if it said it deals an extra d6 instead of you deal an extra d6. So you can enhance the weapon, then toss it to a martial character. Yeah, and I think that's maybe a limiting factor or a way to just prevent everyone. Because if that was the case, I feel like Civil, I feel like that would be the spell that everyone would take. Because if you're not taking it, you're falling behind. and you would be expected to cast that in every combat, and therefore your play experience would be hampered because all you do is pass out magic boinking sticks. I'm just kind of concerned that it's kind of dull. Doesn't seem very Alchemist. Maybe if it was a modified version, like a pistol in the arm that had a small damage, range attack, or close range stun or something. Homunculus is not a flattering name. Makes me think of a baby flesh golem. Yes, well, you know, it's dwarf in a bottle. If you take a translation there, but it's this created, this facsimile of life. Imagine that with a Cleric of the Forge, they would get so much bonus damage to attacks. Yeah, this is kind of like an Arcane Forge Cleric. I was thinking that, Misfit. Paisley says, I would hand out magical buff sticks. I do that for an entire campaign. My entire job is giving other people a plus 1d6 damage. Well, then you'd be playing the support. And you know what? There's nothing wrong necessarily with the support class. Not everyone has to be a solo or anything. I mean, you can only do it to, the one there, but that's why in a party of 6, you have 3 Artificers backing up 3 Barbarians. Duh. I'm all about the support class. Strip me of all damage. I have support to do. Zelda says, a melee Artificer with a dip in, like, Fighter or Blade Singer could be cool. Yeah. And that's why, multi-classing, I'm glad that they did put that here. Well, it wouldn't be really slow dishing magic out to the whole party because it's concentration. Yeah, so, I mean, you'd have to... Well, you can concentrate with one hand, and the other one you can keep pew-pewing with your cantrips. Well, I'll tell you what then, everyone. Why don't we get up and take a break? I'm going to get up and stretch, get the old blood flowing here. And why don't we come back and we'll make an Artificer. We can even make, just kind of force create a level 20 Artificer to see everything it has and how it might jive with whatever the character is that we're going to generate. Whatever race and background and all that other stuff. Paisley said, I had a lot of fun playing Bard, stunning people for friends, singing over voice chat, buffs to people. Oh, that's great, Paisley. So, everyone, hang on. Let's take like a 10-minute break, get a drink, a snack, walk around, do what you got to do. And when we come back, let's make an Artificer, and we'll talk about it. We'll discuss maybe how this character could fit into a different to a party, different party makeups, and go from there. You wrote haikus on the fly with yours, says Misfit, and Zelda says, I think it's why Artificers can no longer give allies tokens with spells to cast. They'd give the monks and fighters Arcane Weapon. Improvising insults for vicious mockery is great fun too. Yes. And of course, dad jokes for Tasha's hideous laughter as the verbal component.